Okay, so I'm back with talking about binding. In the last video, you saw that I was cutting and sewing together binding. I had 2-inch strips. I showed you how to miter them together into one long piece. So now what I'm going to do is iron those pieces. So I run my iron and get, just this pretty flat if it's not. And then I take these mitered seams and just press them down. So I'm just going to press each of those to the side so that I can move on to my next step, which is really kind of a quick process. I just need to find all of those little seams, give them a quick press, make sure my fabric's straight. Just gonna press them flat. And in the last video, I had explained why it would not be a good idea to press those open. And I've said that before in some other videos about pressing seams open, especially when piecing quilts. It's just not a good idea. It causes extra strain on the seams. It gives you a little extra reinforcement to just go ahead and press it to one side. Don't be alarmed about bulk. I had admitted in another video when I had talked about pressing seams to one side that I used to press them open because I had read and had been told to do that. And for fear of having bulk, but there is not, this won't cause bulk either. I used to, in the very early days of trying to learn how to sew and piece quilts, I actually split these seams apart and press them open. But don't do that, just press it to one side because I was afraid of bulk. This is quite a skinny strip. It's 2 inches. I'd cut this 2 inches long. I'm just gonna press some of these wrinkles out a little bit, iron this. When you have such a tiny piece, it's easy to buy the story that the bulk will be there if you're got too much fabric in a small space. So that is why I did that to begin with. I was told to do that. And it's not necessary. It doesn't add bulk. And since it's at a mitered angle like this, it's not all in one place. It kind of wraps around, twists around it at an angle of sorts. It's really, really not a big deal. So there we have it. That's my last one. Just gonna press that a little more. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and fold it in half. And I touched base on this in the last video, that you fold this in half, just match up your ends and press it, okay? So it's easier if you kind of get it started a little bit with your fingers. Got my cord wrapped here. And if there's other things that you guys would like me to talk about or touch base on, or if you have questions, please mention that in the comments or message me. You can email me directly at princessdesigns@yahoo.com. That's PRINCESSDESIGNS@yahoo.com. If you don't want to put a comment in the comment section, but feel free. hopefully this is helpful. So I'm not going to do the whole thing on the video because this is quite a long piece and that's boring. But do you see? So this is what it's going to be, what it's going to look like. The entire strip I'm going to continue to press in half like this. And actually I will go a little further down so that you can see, just keep matching up those edges. I'm kind of feeding it. Here, I don't think you can see my hand. Got my camera a little close this evening. So, I'm just kind of feeding it with my fingers and matching it up before I press it. And that helps. I am going to go a little bit further because I want you to see what it's going to look like when I hit the mitered seam where I connected the two pieces of fabric. So I've already kind of started that. See, there's the seam. I'm going to just treat it like the rest, and it's not really doubled up on itself. You can see that because of the fact that it is mitered. It almost makes like a V shape twisting around the binding. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there because, like I said, it's pretty monotonous and you get the picture. I mean, you know how to do that. So set your iron on whatever setting it is. I have mine on cotton because that's what this is. Fold it in half, press it from one end all the way down to the other end of the fabric. And then after you get that all pressed, the next step is attaching it to your finished quilt, the raw edge. So I do have a quilt prepared. I've trimmed up the sides of it. I should have done a video on that. That might be helpful for somebody. Seriously, let me know what is helpful so that I can be productive and help you do projects that you're looking to do. So, and this binding isn't just for a quilt. You could do this, this is how I finished table toppers or runners. I did a mantle scarf and it has a binding edge because you're going to end up wrapping this will be how wide it is, around the quilt. And I showed, let me get this, I showed you all a finished binding, a quilt that I just finished within the last month. So there's this little piece right here is the binding, and that's what I'm going to show you to put on next in my next video. So in the meantime, good luck, get your binding prepared, and I will be back soon with how to attach the binding to your finished quilt.